Okay, let's do this. Today, my guest is Edwin Lee Gibson. He's an actor. He's been featured in films such as The Marshal with the late Chadwick Boseman. He's been also featured in Mom and Dad with Nicolas Cage. Also, Unprisoned, the TV series with Kerry Washington and Delroy Lindo. And right now, he's been featured in the successful TV series The Bear, which they're going on their third season. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Please, Edwin, tell a little bit about yourself. Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about The Bear.
Yeah, really great show, really great time on this show. Just an ensemble piece about a young man who comes back, who's a fine dining chef who comes back to Chicago to take over his brother's Italian beef uh spot when his brother commits suicide. And it's a beautiful piece about family and life and mental health. And I play Ibrahim, who's in East African uh, cook chef uh, in the restaurant.
What would you say has made the show successful?
Uh, I think what's made the show successful is that we weren't directing it in any kind of way. We weren't trying to make a certain kind of show. We were really doing it for each other. We had no expectation that it would be received this way, but we are an ensemble cast of people at various tiers. You have young people like Io and Lionel and Jeremy. Then you have other folks in the middle, such as Abby and Eben. And then you have kind of veterans like theater people like Liza and myself. So I think there's a cross section of it, really diverse looking cast. And I think that kind of makes it really, it makes it gel in a way that may be subtle to a lot of people. And also the fact that it's about Chicago, and people from Chicago said that we've gotten the show right, as well as people in the restaurant world. So I think those are aspects that have made the show really successful.
Mm. You guys won Emmys too, huh? Right? How does it feel?
10, 10 out of 13 for our first season.
How does it feel?
Mm, good. You know, I think it's one of those things when you do it for each other and you're not doing something hoping it's going to be this thing. I think it's more rewarding. The creator, Christopher Storer, and Joanna Kahlo, who's the co-showrunner, got a real great handle on this piece. And so to see that culminate in the reception critically and amongst your peers has been really, really good.
So, does that open any new opportunities when that happens, when you win awards?
Um, yeah, I guess when you have a lot of eyes on you, it does. And uh, I uh, I tend to think there are things that are happening that I have no idea of yet. So, there, the recognition's there, and people are interested in you for other things. Um, but yeah, I'm sure it does. But the beauty of it is that you never know where the next thing is coming from.
So, how did you get started in acting?
Got started when I was like 12, 13. Started taking it seriously when I was 14 back in Houston, where I grew up. But I've been working in the theater since I was 16. So I've been working pretty consistently as an actor, as an artist, I should say. Um, since I was 16. So high school, and then but I didn't go to drama school. It's what I've always done, and I think my curiosity and growing up in the theater was my schooling.
Did you struggle a lot? Did you struggle a lot as an actor in the beginning?
Well, yeah, well, I think the career, the whole thing, it ebbs and flows, and you've got to make a choice to. I made a choice to do this as my life. I wasn't trying to necessarily get anywhere except to make my living as an artist. So, yeah, I guess there are lean times and there are times that are very, very fruitful. But you can find fruit on a skinny tree. So you just got to be able to find it and eat it and let it nourish you until you're on your path to that tree with a thicker trunk and more fruit.
What was your first TV role or movie?
Mm, first TV role. Uh, I did a little movie in Houston called oh gee whiz, World Peace. It was this movie I did in the '90s, and David Green, who departed this life on this side way way early, directed it. We did it in Houston. Small little movie, and I like those kinds of flicks as well. It's just like you mentioned, Marshall earlier. Chadwick was a very dear friend of mine, and we hadn't seen each other in a while. We worked in the theater in New York, and then I hadn't seen him, and then I ended up on Marshall. We got to reconnect after some years. But I like taking certain roles that are smaller, like that role in World Peace. I just wanted to really learn, and I was in the theater already, so I've been in the theater 43 years. And yes, so doing stuff like that kind of got my feet wet in the '90s, and then back in the theater, and then just adding a bit more TV and film work as I got older.
One of my favorite TV series was Law and Order. I know you
Uh,
were in it. So how was that
yeah,
like?
no, it was cool. I did the second to last episode of the original Law and Order. Then I got a phone call. I was doing a play in Pittsburgh, and I got a phone call saying that the network was looking for me to come back on SVU. And I'm not a huge TV watcher. I don't really go to see films, or I don't even go see plays very often. I'm one of those artists that just likes to walk around, kind of being in the world. But being on that show was really really great. A lot of fun. It moves very quickly because it's a weekly procedural, so they move very very quickly. And they had my character on for a couple of episodes. They wanted more, but things are fluid with the writing and things, so they can want you. Then when they decide to go a different direction, they may never get back to you. But it's fine. It was a great experience and a great time.
What about Unprisoned? I think they have you guys are shooting season 2 of that.
Yeah, they just wrapped, and I went back and did one episode maybe a week after I got back here on the Bear. I had to fly back to do an episode of Unprisoned. We were trying to get me back on the show for a couple more episodes, but my schedule here on the Bear didn't really mesh. So I had to stay in Chicago, and I couldn't get back to LA to shoot that. But it was really cool working with Delroy, Lindo, and Kerry Washington. Was just really really great, and he and I are. I think we have kind of a good chemistry, but we don't really talk about things. We just go to it, and it's nice when you can look in another actor's eyes and say, "Okay, yeah, let's go to work." But it was really really great. It's a great show. Yvette Lee Bowser, Tracy McMillan, who created the show, Yvette Lee Bowser, who's the executive producer. Great, great time on that show.
And what's your character all about in Unprisoned? And then we'll go back to the Bear because I forgot to
Oh,
ask.
sure. No, yeah. I play a cat named Fox, and Fox is Delroy Lindo's character, which is funny because I don't know if they'll admit it, but Delroy Lindo's character's name is Edwin, and it was Eddie, I think, before I got cast on the show. Then all of a sudden it became Edwin. Now, I don't know if they would say it was a coincidence, but I was like, hey, that's kind of a coincidence. I think you guys did it because you got me on the show. But I play Fox, who's Delroy's um Delroy Lindo's character's friend from jail, who's already out and is trying to do some things differently, but kind of gets Edwin Delroy into some other kind of things because he wants to make some money to kind of take care of his family. He's trying to do the right thing, but may have to do it the wrong way until he can find a way to do it the right way, if that makes sense.
And what about the bear?
Oh yeah, Ibrahim. I love this character so much. I love this guy a lot. He's East African, and there's a long trek from East Africa all the way to the States, and then to Chicago. So he's a guy who is described as a mystery who's lived 1,000 lives, and so yeah, he's just this really beautiful man who probably has a very very intense past with a war in East Africa, Kenya, Somalia, Tanzania, but really was a cook and a fighter who found his way to Chicago and now lands in this very cold place that's unlike the equator, the area of the equator that he might have grown up in. But he just loves life, and what I like about him most is that he's very very subtle. Like his intensity is what makes him funny.
How has Hollywood changed over the years?
Uh, I'm not a Hollywood person. I've only lived in Los Angeles for 2 years, so I'm not that dude. Uh, I'd rather be in Tucson, Arizona, or or back in Paris. But what I think has happened is that there's a lot more space for a lot more things. I think you can do. A creator can create shows now and find a home for them, whereas before you had studios saying, well, these are just our shows. Now they don't have to pay to make shows, they can just buy shows. So I think that's a really fortunate thing. I'm a writer as well, and so I see those avenues now being opened, so you don't have to really sit in Hollywood to make your art. You can make it and make it well, come there and they'll buy it.
Do you produce and direct also?
Not for the screen. I've directed in the theater, but not for the screen. Maybe that's down the line. But there's so many more moving parts for the screen. There's so much more money involved, and so I'm learning a bit more about producing by being here on the bear and just watching. But no, not yet. We'll see.
What would you say was your favorite role that you've done?
Mm, screen or theater?
Screen.
Okay, screen work. I really love this. I really love this character I'm doing right now. I love Ibrahim because I get to work without words. I like to work without words and be able to tell a story with just my face and a few words. So it's given me a chance to really work in a different way. So I really, really love this character of Ibrahim.
What is the favorite thing you like about the acting?
Um, how it challenges me to find out things about myself, you know, come out of it. I come out of experiences with these characters that I play, and I just like learn a bit more about myself. You know, um, um, I like things that scare me. So uh, when a role can scare me, then I can get in. I can really listen and learn. I like to listen, so I think that's one of my favorite things about acting. It's not acting. It's just listening. Sorry about that sound. I'm in my trailer. There's all these sounds going
And what do you and so what do you dislike about acting?
on. I don't think. Hmm, I don't think there's anything I dislike about acting. There are things I don't like about the politics of things and how people treat other people. There are some people that will show one thing to the public, but they're antithetical to that once the cameras are off. I don't really like that uh, about the business of, specifically about acting. Um, there's nothing I don't like about it. There are times I don't always like my job, but there's never a time that I don't love my job. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a good answer. How do you prepare for roles?
I'm not a big researcher. My feeling is that everything I need is on the page. If I start to research a role, then I'm not doing what the writer wrote. I'm doing what I researched. So now I'm not looking at the script and the story. I'm just trying to do a certain thing. So and that's one of the things I like about acting as well, is to be able to just kind of look at what a writer created and to color it and interpret it. Um, but yeah, I'm not a big researcher at all. I just like to dig into the script and the story.
How's the audition experience? Do you get roles coming to you, or you always have to audition?
Well, yeah, it's a bit of both. And then sometimes what you've done, the amount of work you've done, it may be too big for the production that wants you. I mean, there's also that. It's like um, I have things coming to me, but I also still audition. Um, but sometimes they're like, okay, we want you on this show, but the role we're asking you to do is you're going to probably do that in such a greater way that it's going to take away from the main person we have on the show, so we can't really have that. And then there's sometimes that other actors don't want to work with you because they know what you're going to bring. But that's cool too, um um it's all very fluid. It changes, you know but it's all beautiful.
Hmm. Is
Did I answer your question? Did I answer
Yeah,
your question?
yeah, perfect. Don't worry about it. Is age a factor in the movie industry? Is it a big factor?
I think there are advantages and disadvantages to whatever age you are. um but I think you have to lean into kind of where you are in your career. um I have been acting 43 years, but I don't look that old. And so sometimes people don't realize what my age is. I'm having so much fun that I don't age. But sometimes, well, earlier on, I remember a casting director telling me when I was 40, she said, "You don't look 40 and no one's going to believe you're 40, so we can't cast you. You're more like 30-year-old." I was like, well, I don't want to read that stuff. It's very different. But there are advantages, and you just lean into where you are in your career, and like a surfer, you're waiting on that next wave to catch and to just ride in. Um, but I do see a lot of people trying to stay young or really trying to hold on to what they were years ago. And I feel badly for them because can't embrace where you are if you're trying to hold on to something else. Um, I see people that are still characters that they played years ago. And, they walk around with that. And I think that is because they don't want to age either, but not for me.
Do you still do theater now?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Still do theater. Uh, Not as much anymore because, like I said earlier, I like things that scare me. So theater asks a lot of time for you, and so I've got to have the time to do it, and the project's got to elicit a great deal of fear in me. Um, I'm more frightened now by the work I do on screen. So this is where I am. My muscle is activated a lot more now here on the screen.
Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it possible that actors they really like to dip their feet into theater?
Um, some actors, I would say that most actors probably start out in theater in some kind of way, but a lot of actors don't stay in the theater. I think that the theater, it's a very, very difficult life, and like I said, I've lived it 43 years. So I didn't dip. You know, I swim in the deep end, underwater, all day, every day. But but yeah, but then there are people that do TV and film that like to come back and dip their feet in theater, but then they go right back to TV and film where it's more comfortable and where, if we're being honest, the pay is much better. It's, if you are in the theater, you're there because you want to be there, not because you get paid very well.
So, what are some stuff that you want to do in your career moving forward in the next few years?
I'm just looking at the next challenge, uh, Richard. That's what it is for me. Um, I want to keep writing. Uh, I I was one of 10 writers chosen this last year to the Sony Pictures Television Writing Program, which you can only get into by being nominated for, and no one has an idea of who wrote the scripts until you get in. So that's very, very good. I just want to keep growing as an artist and finding projects and characters that need me. You know, um, uh, yeah, that's my thing, and I think that will carry me through. It always has.
What would you say to someone who wants to go into the arts, whether it's acting, producing, directing, writing?
Um, I think as an artist, you really have to think about. I always say, sit in a room alone and have a really honest conversation with yourself about what you can do without, because you're gonna have to do without a lot of things if you're gonna pursue this as your life. But I would say, what I did was I decided if I'm gonna go down in flames, I'm gonna go down in flames doing what I chose to do. Also, have an idea, your own idea of success that's not that that doesn't mirror someone else's, because otherwise you'll be chasing someone else's success. Oh well, they did it like this, let me do it like that. It really doesn't work that way. I mean, there may be some aspects of it that are similar, but your path is your path, and I really, really believe that. um and I would also say, have a blast, have fun, because that's what it is. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of lean times. And just because you do everything doesn't mean it's going to work out in the way that you think it's going to work out. You do it because you do it. not because you want something from it.
When does season 3 starts of the TV series The Bear?
Well, we're shooting right now. You see, I'm in my trailer, and I'm going to be on set here right after I talk to you. I'm going right on set. But season 3, we'll probably come out the same time we do each year, late June. And we're working on season 3 and 4 at the same time. It's in the news, so I'm not speaking out of turn. It's already been in the news. Yeah, I don't know when season 4 is gonna debut, but season 3 will probably be late June, early July. There's a little bit of pushback because of the actor and writer strike from last year.
Okay. And how many episodes on season 3?
Oh, you almost got me. Not telling you that one. Not telling you that one.
No
you know,
problem.
I love to pour the tea, but all I got is coffee.
No problem. Thanks, Edwin, for being here and doing this with me. I really appreciate it. I know you gotta go. So yeah, so thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much.
No problem. It was a pleasure meeting you and talking to you. I really enjoy the conversation. So
And you too.
thanks. So please make sure everybody to watch The Bear season 3. And
Yes.
yeah, so on that note, thank you everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Yes. All right. Take care.
Take care.